So as I hear things indicating that socialism is just ever on the rise, apparently young people are just loving the idea of socialism. They're reacting to the poor economy, to the intentional damage to our economy, our country, with massive illegal immigration, making housing less affordable, the COVID shutdowns, the massive amounts of tax dollars printed and given away for that, adding to the inflation. Like, there's just so many things. I mean, just toxic policies that have been intentionally eroding our country, and they're responding in the way that the likes of socialists Cloward and Piven came up with their Cloward and Piven plan back in the 60s. The people are responding in the expected way, that they're demanding more socialism. They don't learn about capitalism. They don't know what it is. They look at the not great system going on in America, yeah, that still manages to be productive and offer people a better life that people around the world want to come to. Nevertheless, because they're experiencing financial hardship and they see the corruption within our own system, because of course there's plenty of corruption. There's always going to be corruption. There's no utopic system. But they're looking at this and going, well, we want socialism instead. And so then what is the socialism but simply a monopoly of government? Imagine a company that gets to simply take your money away from you. It's called taxes. They get to decide how much money they just take from you. In fact, they get to control every aspect of your life. They get to control by fiat everything that you do and everything that you own and what you're able to own. And they take your business. Now, you don't get to have a business anymore because it belongs to the government now, because all the means of production now belongs to the government. And they will run it. They will control it and tell you what to do. Sure, for a while it may seem like you're running it yourself, but with time, don't worry, the means of production will move to the government, and that business will no longer be yours. That property will no longer be yours. Everything will really belong to the government, because that's what the socialists intend. And once they're in power, who's to stop them? And it would be like a mega corporation that literally hostile takeovers every single business in the country and has the power to dictate everything. Would you like it if Facebook literally made all the rules, made all the regulations, was the payer of your wages, was the determiner of your compensation, of where you live, of what kind of housing stipend you won, of the determiner of your health care? Of course, they promise it'll be free. Of course, free means it will be rationed, because there is not infinite workers and infinite resources to just toss out abundance to everyone. Price dictates where these things go, and instead it would have to be rationed. So good luck with that. So the giant corporation, which would just be government, the giant mega monopoly, which is socialist government, ends up being in charge of everything. So when somebody is in favor of socialism as the solution, what they're saying is a monopoly, a state that has more control over your life than even a king, is the economic solution that they desire. A state that will ultimately, and very much intends to, do away with elections entirely, because why would it give up power? And it certainly wouldn't allow some other form of economic and political system to exist. Socialism doesn't share itself. If you want to go out and start a little socialist commune somewhere, you can try. If you want to be a capitalist under a socialist society, well, they'll throw you in jail or in the gulag or kill you. And they won't let you leave. The irony with this monopoly is that for all the complaining about border walls and that illegal aliens and felons ought to have their voices heard in our democratic society. The thing the socialists, with their monopoly on government, would do will throw out elections and lock all the borders down to keep you from leaving, because of course you would want to leave. Of course, every socialist communist country, the people want to leave and want to get out. That's why they're fleeing. That's why they're always fleeing Cuba. That's why we have Venezuelan immigrants here. That's why people escape from North Korea. It's why people, well, would have liked to have escaped from Russia, except they had a giant friggin' wall with machine guns and barbed wire and landmines and stuff. Why people try to do what they can to get out of China. Like, communist countries don't want people leaving. They don't want that sweet, sweet money of the workers, the productive people, the actual workers, from leaving. And here's another aspect of it. If you think that you're getting the free ride under that socialist government once it's taken over, that monopoly of power, that mega king government that will demand everything, you think that that's going to be like coasting and a free ride, that it's going to be the welfare state? I got a bridge to sell you. They will demand that you work. They will tell you the job that you will do. They will determine how much you get paid. And all of it will be rationed. It's as simple as that. And with that, like, the socialist, the liberal, they're imagining that it's some sweet, soft rainbow government that they're aligned with that's in charge. It's gotta be real kind, giving all kinds of things away. Just so gentle, so caring. And the most obvious thing to point out about that is, do you want all of that control of that socialist monopoly of government? Do you want that government if it's Trump in charge? Do you want, if you're on the left, do you want Trump in charge of your utopic dream of the socialist government that controls your housing, controls your access to medical care, controls your access to transportation, controls what you're paid, controls everything that you can do? Do you want it if it's the opposition in charge? Do you want it if Trump is in charge? Okay, if you don't want it when it's that level of control, then what would make you think that the people you don't want to be in power, who will abuse that power, what makes you think that those aren't the very people who inevitably will, and even are right now, the ones seeking that power? What makes you think that the ones using your own naivety, your own good nature, and your own ignorance about history and economics, what makes you think those people exploiting your ignorance, good nature, and empathy don't intend to exploit every bit of that power to your detriment? What convinces you of that? If you think capitalism is the terrible imperial conquering thing that can't be trusted, well, what does the government do if, well, like DSA apparently wants, at least I saw a clip of this, to get rid of things like the Supreme Court and the Senate?
So would you like to abolish the Senate?
That's part of our platform, and we don't think that's extreme. We think it's a change that would help make this country more democratic.
Getting rid of layers of checks and balances in government. In fact, they would get rid of all of it. They would develop a communist Politburo and probably have a supreme dictator, like in communist countries, what they inevitably have, who don't give up power, because why would you? Anyway, that's some food for thought. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.